Hi everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of the Untouched series with Alex Boylan. Today we are in the Exumas in the Bahamas. You know this place is special, as in this episode, Alex describes the Exumas as the place he wants to retire. As the most travelled man I have ever met, that definitely is a huge commendation. Sailing, lobsters, locals, the Exumas is a beautiful, solitary and exciting place. Hope you enjoy. Alex, thank you so much for joining us again on Low Season Traveler Insider Guides. How are you doing?
Awesome to see you, Kate. Good to be here.
Wonderful. We are now going to travel to Exumas in the Bahamas, and it's an archipelago consisting of 365 islands. And when I heard that number, immediately in my mind, I thought, great, one island for each day of the year. That is like the best year I could think of traveling around.
Oh my gosh, that's a great bit of information. That's awesome.
And just
that's a show right there.
All right.
That's a show.
Alex,
you know what I'm saying?
Together.
Like I'm in. Every day you spend on another island in the Exumas. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so they're most known for the famous swimming pigs. That is what they're known for. And it seems like an incredibly luxurious place with private islands and just anything you could think of. And you were there when you were sailing. Would you say that that's the best way to get around?
I feel like it's the only way to get around the Exumas, right? Because you know, Bahamas are amazing in and of itself. You know, thousands of islands there, right? But so the Exumas, I flew in. My buddy picked me up because I was coming from California. He picks me up in Atlantis at the marina there, right? So I remember being like close to, I can't remember what island that is, but there's stuff going on. You know, it's a very populous island. In one day sail, you're in the middle of nowhere. Like, cause so that northern part of the Exumas, so I basically went from that northern part, like all the way down to Staniel Cay, and I'll walk us through, but Staniel Cay is down where the pigs would be at. And there's some there, just a little bit more populous of islands, right? And I have seen a lot of water on the planet. And for sure, when people ask me, that is the most breathtaking water I've ever seen in my life. Like it's, because like they say, like Bahamas is, I think one of the only places you can see the water from space. Like you see that like turquoise.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
it's massive. So all of like the Exumas is like the Bahamas, and I've traveled a lot. I love the Bahamas. I'm like that super fan of the Bahamas. Like the Exumas are on like another level. It's almost like that's not water. It's like glass down there. It's insane.
Yeah. And so when you were sailing, did you hire a boat? Like, is it easy to hire a boat down there, or do you need to know someone?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I would suggest, I don't know. I mean, I was fortunate. My buddy, it was his boat, right? So that's who we were on. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think you would easily get a boat from. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of places to get a boat, right? You could either get down to Staniel Cay and get a boat, or definitely in the Atlantis, whatever island that is in the Bahamas, where Atlantis is at, like that. There's a big marina there, like a huge marina. So I'm sure they do tons of charters out of there. Mm-hmm. But it is. Yeah, it's so, first of all, I love sailing because it's the last of the frontier, in my opinion, right? It's like the cell phone doesn't work, right? There's all these variables you're dealing with, and you can get places that the average person can't. So it's like the last of the frontier. And so, I mean, it was probably like a 7 days, I want to say ish, to go from Atlantis, like through the Exumas and at least down to Staniel Cay, which I believe is the southern part of it. But at least that's where we ended up. And just every day was an adventure, like every day. And most stops along the way, we were the only ones there, like 100% the only one there.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to ask, are some of the islands more crowded than others? Because I can imagine the island that has the pigs is going to be quite full of tourists, but exploring, are you going to islands and you're just the only people there?
Yeah, so I'll give a couple stories here, right?
Yeah.
So in the north, when we left from the Exumas. I mean, we left from Atlantis. Like I said, it was like a half a day or whatever sail. Like you're in it, right? And the first stop we got to, it's not a stop. It's just like, where do you want to stop? It's just these like archipelago, like islands, like where do you want to go, right? And so we're just kind of cruising along. it opens and there's this bay this beautiful bay that came out of nowhere that we could look into from wherever we're sailing along like the coastline, right? And we're like, this looks amazing. So we park the boat right there and we take 2 paddle boards in. It's myself, my wife, my buddy, his wife. And we're kind of like canoeing, like we're canoeing, right? Like, like 2 people on 1 paddle board. So we get inside this bay and it's just like we're the only ones. This bay was probably like, I don't know, a mile. I don't know if it's a mile, but it was pretty big. And we're like the only people here. And so I get off. I'm going to tell a shark story. Not that anyone should get scared about this, but it's kind of funny. So I'm pushing my wife on the paddleboard. She's going to sit on the paddleboard. My buddy's like maybe 50 yards away and he's on his paddleboard, just kind of messed around. And all of a sudden, so we're just like, this is like a joke. This is like out of a movie. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like literally, it's like we're the only ones here. The boat, we hope our boat's still there. This is like Castaway, right? Yeah. And all of a sudden my buddy yells, "Shark." He's like, "Shark." And by the way, so I'm pushing the paddleboard, even though it's this big bay, it's probably only up to my chest of water, right? And so the water's so stupidly clear. I see the shark like coming for us. Right. I like watching this and I'm watching it. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm like, I wish I was like, had my phone and I was recording my wife because she's like flipping out. So I'm like, I got to get up on this paddleboard, keep it together. Right. Like, I get on this thing. The shark's like darting for us. Right. And so I get up on the board. It comes under, I get up on, pick my feet up. It whips around us like a couple of times and it shoots out of the bay. And my buddy's like, I'm like, that was crazy. And my buddy's like, I got the whole thing on GoPro. Right. He's like, I was videotaping. He goes, that shark came up and bumped our paddleboard. I was like, no way. So by the time we get back to the boat, the way we're talking, like, what do you think that was, a bull shark? What do you think that was? Like 8 foot, 10 foot, like 12 foot? Was that a 12-foot bull shark that just came after us? By the time we came back to the boat, like how big this thing was, we pull up the GoPro footage and it's like literally like a 4-foot nurse shark, wouldn't know how to fly, the most curious shark, and it's like the most docile, just a little, you probably didn't see people, right? And so it's just like, hey, what are you doing? Go check it out. And so anyway, I remember that story. I remember going on land there and just being like this, there was someone had built like a makeshift hut there. So must have lived there for a little while, but it was just a fascinating place. It was awesome. And then, I could keep going. There's all kinds of because there's a lot. There was, Pablo, I think it's Pablo Escobar, the drug dealer. He used to have like one of his shipping, that stopped with planes. So there's a few plane wrecks to dive, like awesome plane wrecks where and this is that was where he was like dropping like drugs coming through. So you can find a bunch of different, which is, it's kind of like a shipwreck with a plane. And so those are really cool. There's an island there. I wish I knew the name of it. People can Google it. Island of pink iguanas, Exumas.
Pink iguanas, Exumas.
And so I'm not joking. Are you Googling it? Are you online right now? See what comes up. Okay. All right. So check this out. All right. I'm going to Google on my phone too. So Derek, my buddy who sails, he sailed a lot. This guy sailed, him and his wife sailed South America back. So they know their way around stuff. And he's the one who's like, we got to go to this island. He goes, Alex, I got to find this thing. We stopped by before and there's all these pink iguanas.
Leaf Cay Island.
So I'm not joking. We anchored the boat. We take a little, whatever his little dinghy is, up into, we literally pull up onto the beach. And I'm talking, imagine it's not a huge island. This is maybe a half an acre, this little island is. So it's not big.
Sorry, it's called Bitaguana Cay, otherwise known as Iguana Island.
And in about 2 seconds, I'm not joking, we step outside this boat, 50 pink iguanas race out of the jungle, almost to the point where you're like, what is going on here? I want to get back in the boat. It's almost like you're in outer space. It's just what is this? And they all just come running out for you and they're just all staring at, and you can feed them. So I don't know if people have fed them throughout the time, whatever. And we just hung out everywhere we go. Imagine just looking around and there's pink iguanas following you around. Big, small, whatever. It's a trip.
So cool.
I bet it. Yeah. Super cool place. And the trippy part about it, you're the only ones there. Right. So that's what makes the Exumas so unique, is that every experience you're having, it's not like some tour guides hey, go take a look at this penguin. It's just you're just stumbling on experiences and locations and just falling into these worlds that are going on. And just goes to show we live on this beautiful planet with so many places that are still untouched. And I put the Exumas up there. And as you get farther south, you definitely start finding islands. Like, those are private islands with nice villas. But like that northern part of the Exumas, it's remote. Like the first 3 or 4 days, I remember, I think we went 2 days and never saw another boat or a soul. And that was, and I just went, this is a trip. Yeah. It is. Yeah. And it's and the amazing part, why the Bahamas are so awesome, it's so close. I mean, if you're talking, like I said, like 6 to 12 hour sail from Atlantis, I mean, off the Florida coast, you're not far from it. You're like a stone's throw away from that place. But you feel like you could travel a lot of places on this planet and not feel that secluded, remote, and just out there. Yeah.
Now, I have to ask, did you swim with the pigs?
We did. Definitely swim with the pigs.
Yeah. What was that experience like?
It's cool. It's funny because like now pigs are becoming a thing, and I might transition to something. Pigs are becoming a thing now in the Bahamas because ever since people started Instagramming those pigs, I think those pigs actually died.
Oh, no.
I bet if you look, I think they died.
Was it because of the tourists?
I don't know if it was because of the tourists. I don't know if it was that or like, some disease. I don't think, but there's the number of places now to pick that up throughout the Bahamas. But it is a trip, right? It's almost, you got to pull your boat up because it's just a riot. Like these pigs are swimming pigs and they know you're going to feed them. So it's just like a fish or whatever. All of a sudden, if that pig sees you in that bay, those pigs are, they're swimming out there. And so it's pretty cool. Like it's cool. And now it's funny how like something starts, because I was just in Eleuthera, which is last year. I was up in Eleuthera, which is north of the Exumas. I don't know if that's Abaco area. So many areas of the Bahamas, but it's definitely north of the Exumas. And someone had said, oh, there's an island that there's a bunch of wild pigs. And these same things have happened, right? You can go and check them out. And then another one said, and then someone else was like, oh, you should check out this area where you can go feed turtles. And literally we went to this spot, and this is off of Eleuthera, northern part of Eleuthera. Now there's no one there. And then like, so in this one bay, we pulled up with a boat. We're the only ones there, jumped off. I mean, I have videos of them. I'll send them to you. I mean, it's like, I'd say probably 12 sea turtles surrounded me.
Whoa.
And I'm feeding them squid like out of my hand. Like, yeah.
That's magical.
So I think that's what's cool about the Bahamas. It's still like most people think of Atlantis or some of their capital places where there's like different parties and stuff, but like it's a big place, and there's so many things that are just off, like just out of this world. And because you're dealing with like picture perfect water, everything's just like amazingly heightened.
So who would you recommend to travel to the Bahamas? And by that, I mean, like, it seems quite a romantic, secluded, special spot, maybe not for your everyday traveler. Like, are there islands that maybe have like backpacker hostels, or do you think people should be going for their honeymoon? Are they divers? What kind of tourists would love the Exumas?
That's a great question. Every tourist should love Bahamas. Like, I should work for the tourism office of the Bahamas because you have something for everything. You have something for everyone there, right? So of course you have these like, higher end places. If you're going there for a romantic getaway, you have that, but there's so much adventure there. It's insane. It's like, I mean, I literally, when I talk about like, where am I, where's my next chapter of life and where am I just like piecing out to, that's what I think of, because it is, it's just, there's just so much, just the amount of, I mean, you have open Atlantic. I mean, think about a lot of these islands too. A lot of them are like long and skinny. So you can be living in a place that has like on the Atlantic side. So if you love surf and you want that type of like, bigger ocean feel, awesome. Or just drive to the other side, no big deal. And like, now I'm in like picture perfect clear water because I'm on the Caribbean side. And they're all like, a lot of them are long and skinny. So it's just, it's a really, I've had some of my biggest adventures have been in the Bahamas. Like in the Exumas, like not far, like when you get down towards where those big pigs are at, it's right near, I believe it's called Stanley Cay. There's a place called, I think it's called Thunderdome. It's where they filmed 007 Thunderdome, like way back in like whatever, the 80s or 90s. Yeah. And it's a trip and it's an adventure just to, you basically imagine like this island cave that comes out, and it's a cave system in the middle of the ocean. And so you just like, you swim under and it's like massive stalactites. So you got to like dive down and stay down, and you'll come back up and it's like, this open cavern and like lights hit it and it's all these fish. And then it's like, and then you'll swim down again and go to the next part. So it's like adventure meets diving meets, super cool. Right. So I put it up there. If you have a boat and you love adventure, I put Exumas like way up there. I mean, I put the whole Bahamas up there.
That's a pretty big coming from you who's traveled extensively across the world, saying that this is the place that you're choosing that you would want to end up at. That's
and there's a couple of things here. The Bahamian people are awesome, right? And people, sometimes we as travelers like lump areas together, right? That's not correct. Like, so the Caribbean's a lot of different cultures, right? You got the Latin culture, you know what I mean, with like Puerto Rico, and then all of a sudden you get the West Indian culture, and then you get down to the South, it all changes to more like South America. So many different cultures, like all through that. The Bohemians are their own culture, like, right? And so a lot of times people, because technically Bahamas, I don't believe is actually the Caribbean. Like when you say like going to the Caribbean, it's incorrect. I don't believe it's actually the Caribbean. I think it's the Bahamas. Like they're not part of the Caribbean chain. And those people are their own culture. Right. And they are friendly people. Like it is one of the safest places on this planet. Like you could be on any one of those islands and roll into any bar or anyone's house, and they're just like the friendliest people. Like it's one of those places that just feels like it hasn't gotten, which always blows my mind away, because you're like 40 miles off the coast of Florida, right? Like you're like
a
right
completely
there.
different world.
And it's a completely different world, 100%. And the people are just like, it's as if they're like, I don't want to say like they're like stuck in time or anything, but it's like they've just kept their culture. Bohemians are a culture in and of themselves, and they are just as friendly, and and you could just I think you could spend a lifetime exploring the Bahamas. Like my buddy Derek, who sailed, I remember him telling me, he goes, you get to the Bahamas, you're kind of like, when am I going to get out of the Bahamas? Like it just keeps going and going and going, because that's going to take you all the way down to the Dominican Republic. And he says, like, he goes, you want to get to some real trippy places, get to the Southern Bahamas. No one's there. Like, no, it's because it kind of stretches into no man's land. It's hard to get to. And so he would tell me stories about like, he's like, just to like, he was going in and trying to find a grocery store somewhere, and he'd like whatever, like dock his boat. He's like, I'd walk like 2 miles to try to find someone. Like it gets really remote in Southern Bahamas, like uber remote.
So the Exumas, they have this awesome initiative called People to People, which pairs visitors to a volunteer local. And they do it because they understand that people are looking for like deeper cultural connection to a place. So connecting someone to that local. As an experienced traveler, what are your thoughts on this program? And do you think it's something that could be potentially adopted by larger countries?
I can't believe I've never heard of that before. And that's unbelievable. Like every country in the world should do that. I pride myself on like half the shows I've done, I'm like living with a local. Like that's like defines me as a human on this planet. And I never heard of that. And that's awesome. And I'm surprised, because what a great way to learn the culture. There's nothing better than mixing up with the local. What a great thing for their economy, right? Because I'm just thinking of the Bahamas in general, unless you're in the tourism in a bigger area, there's not a lot of industry, right? It's not like some rich country, right? I mean, it's rich in many things, but not in the way in some of the like material possessions we would think of. It's like, like conch fishermen and, fishermen and going out for conch. It's not like, so what a great idea. Everyone should go to the Bahamas and do this program.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect. You just get a local tour guide who is a volunteer, so obviously extremely friendly and willing to talk to people. Like I think I had not come across an initiative like that from any other country. And I thought it was incredible when I found out about it. And it's so easy. You just register online and they just pair you up with someone. It's beautiful.
Absolutely genius. And I just think when people do that, they need to like go the next step and offer that person to buy that family dinner to go to their house. You know what I mean? Like it's great that they're doing that, but don't take it don't go from like, oh, show me the coolest sights. Show me the, you know what I mean? The pink iguana, you know what I mean? Like take that to the next level. Like people need to take it. My gut is creating a program like that. That's what they want. But like, go to their house, have dinner with them, right? Go to church with them, like get to know like that culture, that's there. What a beautiful program.
Yeah, I think it's amazing too. Yeah, well, the Bahamas, you got pink iguanas, you got Pablo Escobar's plane, you got beautiful people, sea. I mean, it sounds glorious, and I totally understand why that's your place to go retire and say peace out to the world. It makes sense.
Totally, 100%.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. We'll see you next time for Puerto Minta in Mexico.
All right, sounds good. Cheers.
It's winter here in Melbourne, and discussing sunshine, crystal blue waters, and sailing has honestly made me a little bit grumpy. I want to be in the Bahamas right now. Next week, on our 5th episode of Untouched, Alex and I discuss Punta Mita in Mexico. A different destinations as our previous ones, as in this area of Mexico, you might just bump into a Kardashian. If there are any destinations you'd like to hear more about, contact us on our social networks @LowSeasonTraveller. More now than ever, travel is better without the crowds.